Operating system, OS, types of software. Now, operating systems or OS software is the foundation software installed onto a computerized device to support system processes, interactions between hardware and other software applications of a system, as well as provide an interface for users to interact with the system. So what we're going to do in this video is look at a number of features that allow all of this to happen. So with these features, first we want to highlight there's a variety of different types of operating system, often correlating with different types of devices. So we've got mobile operating systems that allow for tablets and mobile devices such as phones to run, and as well as desktop operating systems, which you may be more familiar with as well. But going beyond that too, there's also operating systems for gaming consoles and household devices too, that allow these systems to run and allow users to interact with these systems. And that's what we want to highlight here. What are these features of the operating system that allow all this to happen? So firstly, we have resource management. Basically, the operating system is made up of a number of resources, in this case, many types of hardware devices that are often requested by many different other aspects of the system. So the main one is the CPU, which does the processing of the system. Its CPU processing time needs to be allocated across often multiple applications and utilities that are running within a system, all of them requesting the CPU to do their processing. So that needs to be divided up from the operating system. Then we also have memory. All data that is live and running within a system is stored within RAM, which is the memory of the system. That needs to be allocated to specific applications and utilities so that it doesn't consume too much and then memory overloads or we run out of memory capacity. So it needs to know how much memory do we have and then divide that accordingly amongst everything that's running at the time. Going beyond the CPU and RAM, which is pretty much always running and doing things for the system for those aforementioned reasons. Then there's just the general input and output devices for a system. These are things such as your input devices, such as keyboards and mice and tablets that you might be using to insert things into a system as well. Okay, that needs to be set up in a way and often in conjunction with driver software so that it can collect data accordingly to go into the system for processing. And then also your output devices too, your monitors, your speakers, your printers. So once again, driver software is installed for those specific devices so data is presented correctly by the operating system and obviously correct information for a user to interact with. The next area is that of file management, the development of a directory structure for files. The whole idea is we create files, we store them in folders in an organized fashion in our system so that we can find them again at a later time in a logical structure. So that is the directory structure. So this is highly customizable. Users can set this up any way they want. But what's actually being made a lot easier is I don't know where the data I've created is actually being stored on my hard drive. I don't need to know that. All I have to do is know what folders files are stored in so I can go to that directory location and open it. It's also all managed through pointing and clicking. I don't need to type in manually folder pathways in order to execute and open a file. Okay, I can just click through folders in order to open the document or file that I want to access. So that is made a lot easier through the file management system. The third area is networking tools, which allow for communications with other devices within or external to a network. So it could be that I'm on my own local network and I have the actual network uh, protocol set up on my system, okay, for me to interact with my own private network. But also it allows me to connect to the internet as well. So these tools obviously allow me to talk within my network and also synchronizing the exchange with other networks too outside my network, such as the internet. So helping me with communications with other devices, not necessarily on my network, but also globally in other locations of the world as well. The next area is that of security tools, and this can obviously be seen as in conjunction with network tools. Authentication, which means login and passwords, encryption tools, scrambling data during transmission, as well as backup tools for protecting data in case it's lost on my system due to a power outage or malfunction with my system. All of these tools help protect data, and there's also a number of other tools as well. Okay, but help secure the data on my system from unauthorized access as well as loss of data too. There's also tools that exist for error detection as well, which in line with communications too. It could be just data was sent or received incorrectly. This gets flagged, and then that data can be requested to be resent so that we can get it in the correct format as well. And then finally, providing a user interface. Now, there's a variety of user interface methods, but the most common one known is a GUI, a graphical user interface that allow users to interact with the system. Okay, and these allow them to execute commands through merely pointing and clicking on icons and buttons. Once again, not manually having to enter in codes or file pathways, it's merely clicking on the correct icon or button, and then code will execute within the system. This has obviously gone to another level too now, where we have gesture-based and touchscreen commands too that can execute things within our system. That I can use multiple fingers and that will execute a command within a mobile operating system as well. But that's all been enabled through the use of a user interface that has been developed through the operating system. So the actual user interface has to support the actual device you're using it on. And that's why there are so many different types of operating systems. They are specifically made for the device you're using. Obviously, some are more general, can be used on multiple types of computerized devices, but the types you get on a desktop are different to the types you get on a laptop and the type you could potentially get on an actual mobile device as well. Or they could be the same depending on the manufacturer, okay? But the whole goal is the operating system is set up on that actual device to allow for the user to engage with the device in the most efficient way possible. But that all comes down to the manufacturer and obviously in many cases their business model they are running. So, finally, an operating system is the first piece of software loaded into RAM when the user boots the device, and it remains operational till the system is shut down. So, hence, operating system remains operational the whole time. It's always operating until it's shut down. And once again, enforcing that is that foundation software that allows everything to run. So, once it's booted into RAM, then everything else can start opening after it with the actual management of the operating system doing all those things we just mentioned before. So the operating system software, there's a whole variety of different types. We've got desktop style operating systems such as Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and Chrome OS. With Linux, there's a whole variety of different subcategories there too that are customizable and because of its open source nature can be made to satisfy a variety of different needs. And obviously, users can get it, edit the operating system themselves and redistribute it to help out other users too. So that's actually a very interesting fact about Linux based operating systems as well. The other three types mentioned there are all affiliated with their actual manufacturer. Microsoft obviously has Windows for their systems. Mac OS specifically only can be used on Mac-based systems, and that's actually in their contract for use as well. And Chrome OS for obviously Chromebooks, okay, where it has that browser type of interface and it prioritizes interacting with the internet in order to access your docs, media, and resources of that. But stemming from here too, there are also mobile operating systems as well, such as iOS on Apple-based phones and Android, which not necessarily just on Android phones, but a variety of manufacturers. It's a Linux-based mobile operating system. So many manufacturers adopt it, edit it, and make it suit to their actual phone device, such as HTC and Google Pixel, in order to ensure that that is customized and perfected for their mobile device there. So I hope this video is giving you an understanding of what operating systems do. And based on for the length I've been talking, it's a lot. And I haven't even touched on everything there, but I've gone through a few categories there, such as resource management, file management, networking tools, security tools, and user interface as a starting point, all managing these different areas within a system and essentially making it seamless for a user. So really all a user needs to do is go to their system and hopefully they can do their work and tasks efficiently and allowing the user to be their best possible themselves when interacting with the system and making them as efficient as possible.